Let us solve another question on the pipeline, which was given in GATE 2014 for 2 marks. Here it goes. It's a lengthy question, but it is still a simplest question to solve. Okay, just stay focused and see this question. Here, an instruction pipeline has 5 stages, namely instruction fetch, instruction decode, and a register fetch, that is ID by RF, instruction execution, EX, memory access, MEM, and the register write back, WB. Okay, there are 5 stages in an instruction pipeline with the stage delays or stage latencies 1 nanoseconds, 2.2 nanoseconds, 2 nanoseconds, 1 nanosecond, 0.75 nanosecond. Okay, so that is, these are the 5 stages with the stage latencies 1, 2.2, 2, 1, and 0.75. You can clearly get that this is TP of the pipeline. The maximum stage delay is the TP for this pipeline. Okay, fine, keep it aside. To gain in terms of frequency, the designers have decided to split ID by RF stage into 3 stages: ID, RF1, RF2. Each of latency 2.2 divided by 3 nanoseconds. Let us see what it is. Okay, so now this is the pipeline that is actually designed. But now the designers wanted to update the pipeline. The designer just wants to update the pipeline. So here what they did is, this second one, that is, what is the second one? The second one is instruction decode and the register fetch. Is divided into, they divide this second stage into 3 different stages. That is, designers have decided to split ID by RF stage into 3 stages. That is, ID, RF1, RF2. This stage has been divided into 3. Each of time is equal to, each of stage will take 2.2 divided by 3 nanoseconds. Okay. Also, EX stage is split into 2 stages. They splitted the EX stage also, EX1 and EX2. Each of latency 1 nanosecond. The new design has a total of 8 pipeline stages. That means the new design does have 8 pipeline stages. A program has 20% branch instructions. We'll come to this part later. And first, we will go and have a look at this. First pipeline, we will take P1. Okay, number of stages are equal to 5. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5. Okay, so these are, namely, we'll put the names also: instruction fetch, ID by RF, EX, instruction fetch, instruction decode by register fetch, and S3 is operand fetch, I think. F3 is instruction execution, EX, and EX, memory access, and register write back. Memory access and register write back. Rather, I think this is WB. Is it? Yes, WB. These are the 5 stages with the latencies 1, 2.2, 2, 1, 0.75. That is, latencies are stage latencies. Latencies I'll put here: 1, 2.2, 2, 1, and 0.75. 1, 0.75. And here we are not provided with the intermediate register details. So there won't be any intermediate buffers. There won't be any intermediate registers. So that latency can be ignored. So here TP is equal to, pipeline time is equal to max stage delay plus max register delay. So as the register delays are not given, so the pipeline time TP is equal to just 2.2. Okay. Now, this is given, and there is P2, that is pipeline 2. The pipeline 2 is designed in such a way that this stage 2 has been divided into 3 different stages. This S2, which is ID by RF, has been divided into 3 different stages with latencies 2.2 by 3, 2.2 by 3, 2.2 by 3. We will write it here, S1 and S2, S3, S4. Earlier, S2 is the single one. Now it has been divided into 3 different stages. Okay. This is S1. S1 is equal to instruction fetch. This is ID by RF 1, ID by RF 2, and the fourth stage is ID by RF 3. I'll put S4 here. Okay, so each of the latencies 2.2 by 3. We'll put later, and then followed by execution stage. This execution stage also has been divided into 2, EX1 and EX2. Okay, this is S5, this is S6. Finally, a memory, MEM, memory access, that is S7, and finally write back, register write back, which is S8. Since these are ID and RF1 has been divided into 3 stages, 1, 2, 3, and execution stage has been divided into 2 stages, 1, 2. Now the total number of stages in the pipeline is equal to 8. Here the number of stages are equal to 5, but here the number of stages are equal to 8. All right. Now plot these latencies. Latencies L is equal to, this is 1, this is 2.2 by 3, this is also 2.2 by 3, this is also 2.2 by 3. EX1, where is EX1? EX1, this is 1, this is 1, because these are divided into 1 clock cycle each. Memory, this is 1, and write back, this is also 1. Okay, here you can clearly see TP is equal to only 1. TP is equal to 1 clock cycle. What is TP? TP is a max stage delay. Max, the stage delays are 1, 2.2 by 3, 2.2 by 3, 2.2 by 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. So obviously 1 is the maximum stage delay because 2.2 by 3 will be less than 1. So TP is equal to 1 in this case. Okay. Now, the next thing is we need to calculate the stall cycles. Okay, you know how to calculate the stall cycles. Stall cycles will be calculated as k minus 1. Okay, so find out what is stall cycle and how to calculate the stall cycles. If you can see this, the IF stage stalls after fetching a branch instruction until the next instruction pointer is computed. So if there is a branch instruction, the subsequent instruction will be stopped, because until and unless the branch instruction is completely computed, we don't know what is the next instruction, right? So we need to calculate the stall cycles. Here the stall cycle, the detail regarding the information regarding the stall cycle, that is IF stage stalls after fetching a branch instruction until the next instruction pointer is computed. We need to wait till the next instruction pointer is computed. When the next instruction pointer gets computed, let us see this. Here, next instruction pointer gets computed, the detail is here. The next instruction pointer will get computed at the end of the EX stage in the old design, and at the end of the EX2 stage in the new design. That is here. Okay. After this, next instruction pointer will get computed. That is, stall cycles are equal to here 3 minus 1, k is equal to 3 minus 1, stall cycles are equal to 2 here, because in the third stage next instruction pointer gets computed, next instruction pointer gets computed. So k is equal to 3. Okay, in the stage, the next instruction pointer gets computed is the third stage. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. Stall cycle for the next one, that is the advanced pipeline, that is P2. We will see. So EX2, at the end of the EX2, next instruction pointer gets computed. That is sixth stage. Here k is equal to sixth stage. 6 minus 1, that is equal to 5. Okay, so here k is equal to the third stage, right? Which stage it is? It is the third stage. Okay, so till third stage, next instruction has to wait. Okay, so here till the sixth stage, next instruction will have to wait. So k minus 1 is equal to the stall cycle that are equal to 2 in the first pipeline, that is 5 in the second pipeline, stall cycles. Okay, so if you want to find out the stall cycles in a rather easy manner, I'll give you one more important rule, which is simpler than this. That is, you just have a formula, that is actual entry minus supposed entry. Okay, now let us see if you can have a look at. There is a second instruction. First instruction enters into the pipe. Okay, first instruction enters into the S2. That is, first instruction enters into S1. Second instruction will wait because S1 will have to be free. First instruction enters into S2 in clock cycle 2. In clock cycle 2 itself, second instruction should need to enter into S1. But here, what if the first instruction is a branch instruction? Second instruction cannot enter into the pipe. Okay, till the first instruction leaves the third stage, because in the third stage, branch target address will get computed. Next instruction pointer will get computed in the third stage. So in the fourth stage, the moment first instruction leaves the third stage and enters into fourth stage, in the fourth clock cycle, the second instruction will enter, right? Actually, the second instruction will have to enter into S1 in the second clock cycle itself. But it is entering into S1 in the fourth clock cycle because the first instruction goes to S4, leaves S3 in only in fourth clock cycle. So if you can have that rule, actual entry is 4. Actual entry into the pipe is 4. But the supposed entry is second clock cycle itself. 4 minus 2 is also equal to 2. So, but the simplest way of getting stall cycles is equal to 2 here. Okay, so the stall cycles is equal to 2 anyhow. Here also you can calculate the stall cycles by actual entry minus supposed entry. Okay, now you just go to the next one. The actual entry here must be in the second clock cycle. Of course, the moment first instruction goes to S2 in the second clock cycle, second instruction must come to S1 in the second clock cycle, right? But second instruction cannot enter into the pipeline if the first instruction is a branch instruction. So second instruction will have to wait till the first instruction computes the the instruction pointer. The instruction pointer is getting computed in sixth clock cycle, right? Okay, so the second instruction will have to wait for the first instruction to leave this EX2 phase. So that is seventh clock cycle. In the seventh clock cycle only, the first instruction leaves EX2 phase. Okay, so that means that actual entry for P2, actual entry is equal to 7, but supposed entry is equal to 2. 7 minus 2 is equal to 5. As both are the same, of course, the stall cycles can be computed in either manner. Okay, so once after you understand this, you don't need to bother about actual entry minus supposed entry, because simply it can be resolved by, rather simply you can get the answer by k minus 1. K is the, the stage in which the next instruction pointer gets computed. Okay, so that is the thing. This is 2, this is 5. Now let us solve the pipeline time. Average pipeline time is equal to, that 1 plus rate of instructions incurs stalls into stall cycles. 1 plus rate of instruction incurs stalls into stall cycles into TP. That is equal to 1 plus the rate of instruction incurs the stalls according to the question is 0.2. Let's have a look at. A program has 20% of the branch instruction. 20% of the branch instructions meaning all the branch instruction will need the stall cycles. Okay. All the instructions that are next to branch instructions will be halted. Okay. They will take some stall cycles. So 20% of the instructions will be halted. So the 20% of the instructions are going to give you a stall cycle, and the number of stall cycles is equal to 2 in the first case, right? Average pipeline time for P1, I'm calculating into TP. That is 1 plus 0.4 into TP. Okay, that is 1.4 into TP. Sorry, this TP is equal to 2.2. What is 2.2? What is TP? TP is the maximum stage delay. Maximum stage delay in the first pipeline is equal to 2.2. Okay, that is 1.4 into 2.2 is equal to 3.08. For the next, average pipeline time for P2. P2 average pipeline time is equal to same 1 plus rate of instruction incurs the stalls, that is 0.2 still, okay, into number of stall cycles are equal to 5, and TP is equal to 1. Okay, we know that TP is equal to 1, that's the maximum stage delay. The maximum stage delay in the second pipeline is 1. So 1 plus 0.2 into 5 is equal to 1 plus 1, that is equal to 2 into 1, that is equal to 2. So here the question is, we are asked to calculate P1 by P2. Okay, so he has considered that the P1 as P, P2 as Q. Okay, so he asked a ratio of the average pipeline times of P1 and P2, that is P1 by P2, that is equal to 3.08 divided by 2. That is equal to, I think, 1.5 something. Okay, exactly, precisely 1.54. Yes, 1.54 is the answer.